I notice that when I make decisions independently, concern comes up. I want to understand that better. I notice the help from last year comes up specifically when I am pulling away. I want to talk about that. I notice that loyalty gets defined in a way that always points back toward what you need. I want to explore that. The most dangerous manipulation you will ever face does not come from your enemies. It comes from the people who say they love you, who worry about you, who give you advice, who help you when you are struggling, who remind you of everything they have done for you. It comes wrapped in warmth, in concern, in sacrifice, and because it looks like love, your brain does not flag it as a threat. Your defenses stay completely down. By the time you realize what was happening, you have already been controlled for months, sometimes years, by someone you trusted completely. This video exposes the 5 dark psychology tricks hidden inside kindness. Not to make you paranoid, to make you precise, so that you can tell the difference between someone who genuinely cares and someone using the language of care as the most sophisticated control mechanism that exists. The 5th trick is the one most people never identify, because it does not feel like manipulation at all. It feels like loyalty. Why kindness is the perfect disguise. Here is the psychology of why this works so completely. Your brain has a threat detection system that is constantly scanning your environment. It is looking for aggression, hostility, unfairness, open signals that someone means you harm. When those signals appear, your defenses activate automatically. But kindness disables that system. When someone is warm, generous, and caring, your brain files them as safe. It lowers its guard. It stops monitoring. It assumes that someone who gives cannot be taking at the same time. That assumption is the vulnerability. Dr. George Simon's research on covert manipulation identifies what he calls the disguise of virtue. The use of socially valued behaviors like generosity, concern, and loyalty as cover for control. He found that the most effective manipulators in clinical settings were almost never the aggressive, obvious ones. They were the ones who made their targets feel genuinely cared for, right up until the moment the control became impossible to ignore. And by then the damage was already done. Trick 1. Concern as control. The first trick looks like worry. They express concern about your choices, your friends, your relationship, your career, always framed as caring. I just want what is best for you. I worry about you. I do not want to see you get hurt. But watch what the concern actually does. It consistently steers you away from independence, away from relationships they are not part of, away from decisions that do not include them, away from anything that reduces their access to you. Genuine concern expands your options. It gives you information and lets you decide. Concern as control narrows your options. It creates anxiety around choices that threaten the controller's position in your life. The signal to watch for: does their concern leave you feeling more capable or less, more confident or more dependent on their guidance? Genuine care builds your judgment. Covert control erodes it. Trick 2. Advice as dominance. The second trick looks like wisdom. They always have advice. For every situation you face, they have already thought about it more than you have. They have seen how these things go. They know what you should do. And the advice is usually good. That is what makes this so effective. The advice genuinely helps sometimes, which trains you to keep coming back, which trains you to defer to their judgment, which trains you over time to stop trusting your own assessment of your own life. Ibn Qayyim wrote about the danger of outsourcing your discernment, the faculty of judgment that distinguishes between what is truly good for you and what merely appears good. When you repeatedly hand that faculty to someone else, even someone with good intentions, you atrophy it. And an atrophied judgment is a person who cannot function without their advisor. That dependency is the goal, not always conscious, but always the outcome. The signal: do they give advice and then step back? Or do they give advice and then monitor whether you followed it? Trick 3. Guilt wrapped in care. The third trick looks like hurt feelings. You do something they disapprove of. Instead of expressing disapproval directly, they express pain, disappointment, sadness. I just care so much about you. I thought we were closer than this. I never thought you would do something like that. This reframes your independent action as an act of harm against them. You did not make a choice, you wounded someone who loves you. And now the guilt you feel is not about whether your choice was right. It is about whether you are a good person. This is one of the most effective control mechanisms that exists because it bypasses your rational evaluation entirely. You cannot logically defend a choice when the conversation has shifted from whether the choice was right to whether you are kind, loyal, and loving. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." The guilt wrapped in care always asks you to break something, your judgment, your independence, your self-respect, in exchange for the relief of restoring the relationship. That exchange is never worth it. Trick 4. Help as debt. The fourth trick looks like generosity. They help you, genuinely, practically, visibly, and they never explicitly ask for anything in return. But the help is never forgotten. It lives in the relationship as an unspoken ledger, and whenever you do something that threatens their control, the ledger gets referenced. After everything I have done for you, I was there when nobody else was. I gave up things for you that you do not even know about. The help was not given freely. It was invested. And the return on investment is your compliance, your deference, your loyalty, your continued presence in a configuration that serves them. Genuine generosity does not create debt. It does not reference itself. It does not appear at the exact moment you are asserting independence. If the help only comes up when you are pulling away, it was never generosity. It was a leash with a delayed activation. Trick 5. Loyalty as a leash. This is the one most people never identify. They define the relationship in terms of loyalty. Us versus the world. You are the only one who understands me. I would never do what they did to you. Real loyalty means being there no matter what. This sounds like intimacy, feels like being chosen, and that feeling is the trap. Because loyalty defined by them means loyalty on their terms. It means not questioning them, not having relationships they feel threatened by, not growing in directions that take you away from them, not doing anything that could be interpreted as choosing someone or something over them. Every time you approach the edge of that definition, the loyalty framing activates. You are not just making a choice. You are betraying someone who loves you. Bessel van der Kolk's research on trauma bonding shows that relationships built on the framework of exclusive loyalty, us against the world, create the same neurological attachment patterns as trauma bonds. The more isolated the relationship becomes, the more the brain depends on it for safety. And a brain that depends on a relationship for safety will do almost anything to protect it, including surrendering its own freedom. Real loyalty does not require your isolation. Real loyalty gets stronger when you grow, not weaker. Identity line. If you are still watching, someone specific came to mind during one of those 5 tricks. You know who it is. And you have probably been calling what they do love for a long time because that is what they told you it was. Now you have a different word for it. The one response that ends all 5. You do not need 5 different responses. You need one principle applied to all 5. Name what you observe without attacking the person. Not, you are manipulating me. Not, you do not actually care about me. Those accusations trigger defensiveness and destroy the conversation before it starts. Instead, name the specific pattern you observed in neutral language. This approach does something specific. It separates the behavior from the person's identity. It invites examination rather than triggering defense. And it signals clearly, calmly, without aggression, that you see the pattern, that the disguise no longer works. Most covert manipulation depends entirely on the target not naming what they see. The moment you name it, the dynamic shifts permanently. You have moved from